Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be slightly different because I just want to sit down with you guys and share some important life updates. First things first, I graduated from college last month and a lot of you asked about my plans after graduation, so let's get the elephant out of the room first. Yes, as the title suggests, I am moving to Singapore. I know this may sound absolutely crazy, and wow, it is. Because I've never thought about moving to Singapore until like 4 months ago when I visited Singapore. But long story short, I got a job offer from a pretty big tech company that's based in Singapore, so I'm moving there in 2 weeks, which I'm super excited about. In this video, I'm just gonna talk about the top 5 reasons that I'm moving to Singapore from the US. When I was doing the job search, I was essentially comparing job prospects in the US and Singapore. While the economies in both countries suffer from the pandemic, they're on the right track to recovery. In Singapore, for example, while hiring activities dropped over 30% last year during the pandemic, 40% of employers are planning to increase their headcount in 2021. So it actually creates a lot of opportunities for jobs that are in high demand. According to HRMAsia.com, it includes AI specialist, robotics engineer, e-commerce specialist, and a lot more. For me personally, I knew I wanted to do marketing, especially with a focus on digital marketing and the e-commerce field. Because Singapore has seen an increasing shift towards digital marketing and e-commerce has been such an important part of people's everyday life, I figured it would be the perfect place for me to go if I want to take a deep dive into digital marketing and learn more about the field. In comparison, I feel like even though digital transformation is definitely taking place in the US, it's not growing as fast, and most of the job openings I found on the internet are heavily focused on traditional marketing communications, which is not something I'm super passionate about. In terms of work culture, I feel like Singapore is a midpoint between Chinese and American style. It's definitely super fast-paced in Singapore, especially if you work for a tech company, but just by talking to my friends and colleagues in Singapore, I still feel like it's more chill than in China. Because back home in China, we have a saying of 996 as our hustle culture, which basically stands for 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. I'm a strong opponent to the 996 work culture because I don't consider work to be my everything. I still want to have fun and to pursue my hobbies during my spare time, so knowing that I will still have my personal life outside of work is very important to me. On the other hand, drawing from a personal experience working in the US, I feel like work can get a little bit repetitive and even tedious sometimes. So I do appreciate the fact that people in Singapore are willing to treat their work seriously and take a more proactive approach when it comes to problem solving. They love to experiment with new technologies and constantly improving the existing workflow, so I feel like it would be better for earlier career professionals like me who want to improve our skills to work in an environment that is full of challenges because it also means a lot of room for growth. Another factor that I didn't realize how important it is: taxes. Singapore is classified as a tax haven because of its low income taxes. Resident taxpayers pay a progressive tax on their personal income, which is capped at a marginal rate of 22%. I use the income tax calculator that's available on the IRAS website. I'll also leave the link down below. If your annual net employment income is around 50,000 Singaporean dollars, for example, you only have to pay a little more than 1,000 Singaporean dollars for taxes, which is much lower than the US. So if you compare two jobs that pay similar amount before tax in Singapore and the US, your final earnings will actually be significantly higher in Singapore after tax deduction. The next thing is safety. Singapore is commonly considered as one of the safest countries in the world with low crime rates, effective regulations, and a reliable police force. When I was in Singapore, I always feel comfortable walking by myself even at night. I don't have to worry about being harassed by strangers on the streets or my bags being stolen, which is definitely unthinkable in the US. I don't want to throw too much shade on the US, but I think it's fair to say that I always have to be kind of on guard when I walk by myself in Chicago. To be fully honest, that's one major reason that triggered me to make the final decision to not stay in the US. Singapore is also one of the countries that responded really well to COVID. Despite several minor outbreaks, the cases in Singapore have been consistently low. People are mindful and wear face masks. Before you enter a restaurant or shopping mall, the staff will take your temperature and you'll be required to show your COVID tracker. So you can easily enjoy peace of mind when you go out, even during the pandemic. One thing that impressed me the most when I visited Singapore for the first time was how diverse it is. Despite its relatively small size, Singapore is a melting pot of different cultures, which is evident from the fact that Singapore has 4 official languages, which are Mandarin, English, Malay, and Tamil. If you take a walk in the city, don't be surprised if you come across a cathedral, a mosque, and a Hindu temple all at once. I don't want to sound super cheesy, but I do appreciate the opportunities to interact with people coming from distinct backgrounds because you can always learn something new from them. If you've been following my channel for a long time, you probably know that I love language learning. I'm bilingual in Mandarin and English, and I also study Arabic in college. So I really hope to continue my language learning process even after I start working. Because Singapore has such cultural diversity, I was able to find several language centers already, and I'm really excited about signing up for classes there. Singapore is sitting at the heart of Southeast Asia and provides excellent connectivity to other Asian countries and the rest of the world. A direct flight from Singapore to southern China takes less than 4 hours, compared to 14 hours if I were to fly from the US. It's definitely closer to home, so my parents are very happy with my decision to move back to Asia. Because Singapore Changi Airport is such an international aviation hub, it's so easy to travel to other countries across the globe. According to flightconnections.com, Singapore Changi Airport has non-stop passenger flights scheduled to 112 destinations in 43 countries. As someone who loves traveling, Singapore's geographic location is just unbeatable. Even though air travel has been restricted because of COVID, Singapore's vaccine rollout seems pretty promising, and there are a lot of speculations going on that Singapore may open up international travel again later this year and potentially greenlight passengers who have been vaccinated already. So fingers crossed, things will return back to normal soon and we'll be able to hop on spontaneous trips again. Cost of living in Singapore is kind of complicated depending on how you measure it and which country you use as a reference. Even though a lot of publications rank Singapore as the world's most expensive country, I think we should take it with a grain of salt. If you look at the rent, for example, for a fully furnished average-sized condo room in Singapore's central area, you'll be paying between 1,500 and 2,200 Singaporean dollars, which is between 11 and 1,700 US dollars. In Chicago, a similar room will cost you somewhere between 1,200 and 2,000 US dollars. So you could say that rent is quite similar between Singapore and the US, but keep in mind that Chicago is probably one of the major US cities with quite affordable rent. If you look at New York City or San Francisco Bay Area, that's going to be a completely different story. However, cost of living excluding rent is 100% way cheaper in Singapore. You can easily buy a proper meal like chicken rice or fishball noodles, which are signature dishes in Singapore by the way, for 5 Singaporean dollars at a local hawker center, which is around 4 US dollars. In the US, a combo sandwich or bagel with chips could easily go up to $10 after tax if you have to commute to work. A single trip bus or train ride would be less than $1, whereas in the US it's usually like $3. While we have to acknowledge the fact that certain things are kind of expensive in Singapore, like alcohol or buying a car, these expenses will probably only be a small part of my life. After calculating all the living expenses, I just figured I'll be able to save much more money in Singapore while still living a pretty comfortable life. So these are the 5 reasons that I choose not to stay in the US after graduation and move to Singapore instead. I hope this video is helpful if you're considering moving to Singapore for work or whatever reasons. Also, please don't forget to leave the thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more vlogs and Singapore related content. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of today's video. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys next time in Singapore. Bye!